Hello all, welcome back to my channel, and in today's class I am going to talk about common errors that we should be avoiding in paper 1 English, first language English. And this particular video is one of the lessons that I have conducted for my students. So I am sharing this here on this particular platform as well, so that you all can know what are the basic common errors that you should be avoiding for paper 1 English. So let's get started with the video. In case of any queries, do let me know in the comments. You all can follow me on my Instagram handle and make sure you all are in a distraction-free room and are there on this task with your book and a pen to take a lot of notes. So yes, let's get started. Hello learners, welcome back. In this class, we are going to look at the tips and tricks to solve paper 1, English paper 1, wherein I will be including yesterday's common mistakes as well. Because all these common mistakes are quite related to paper 1 and paper 2. So I'm going to explain you with an example how and where you can gain more marks just by doing small easy things and avoiding these common mistakes. Okay, so let's get started with the lecture. So first, as you all can see on my screen here, is missing out one or more of the bullet points of the question. Okay, this is the first very important common mistake, especially in extended writing question or in more than 2 mark question. They generally ask you bullet points. Okay, point 1, point 2, point 3. You have to answer with respect to these points. And please note they write you may use those points. They use the word may, M-A-Y, may. So generally what kids think, it's like, it's not mandatory to use it. They can choose if they want to use it or not, but you have to adhere to those points strictly and work on them and elaborate them to gain maximum marks. Same is included in your comprehension questions, wherein sometimes they include 2 questions in one single question number. So explain this so and so and so and so. So that and or all these things should be noted, and accordingly you should be answering each and every question and point asked in the question. Clear with this? Here we complete the first one, missing out one or more of the bullet points. Second important thing is forgetting to include relevant details. Now, when I talk about relevant details, it's from the text. So if you're picking something from the text, give credit, please. Also, the name, times, location may be important evidence that you have read closely. Try to include all the details your audience would need to know to have a full understanding of the ideas you are including in your answer. Many a times I see kids, especially writing in extended writing or a directed writing paper, what they do is they use this, for example, they are describing an itinerary. So what they will say, this hotel ABC or XYZ, please don't do that. Write down what hotel, which place, which flight. If you specify things, the audience is able to imagine more of what is happening and how it is happening. Okay, so I hope it's clear over here that forgetting to include relevant details, you will end up losing marks for no reason. Third important point is drifting from the text. Sorry. So the task is designed to test how well you have read and understood the text. If your answer invents character, events, or information that are not mentioned, or even hinted in the text, you are missing the chance to show your reading skills and may have lost focus on the task and the text. Make sure that any ideas you include in your answer have been suggested in the text or task. I hope I'm clear until here. So please stick to the question asked, stay relevant and non-repetitive. I always tell my students to follow this. Stay relevant plus non-repetitive. Clear with this? Okay. Next, repeating the text. Simply repeating what happens exactly as it's happened in the text is not going to show that you are able to understand implicit meaning. So repeating, as I told you, repeating implicit meanings. So, as I told you before, stay relevant and non repetitive in English. Try explaining, especially for more than, and if you see, explain in your own words or elaborate on or all these command words. Please use your own words. Use your own words to explain your understanding. Your understanding. Okay. Very, very important. Next point is writing from the wrong perspective. The extended response task is designed to give you the best opportunities to show that you have read the text closely and understood the ideas, attitudes it contains. Make sure you pay close attention to the role you have been given. Example, you may have been asked to be a particular character in the text and write from their point of view, or asked to write an article as if you were a journalist who had interviewed those who involved. So if you are asked to write as a journalist, you have to answer from a question from a journalist perspective. Okay, if you are asked to write from a perspective of a grandfather, get yourself in the shoes of a grandfather, think from his or her his perspective, and then answer the question. So perspective and sticking to the perspective is very important. Along with this, I would like to add one more point. Please stay relatable. So when I say relatable, it means that if your audience is a teenager, please don't use the words or the language which a teenager or the even the examples which a teenager won't understand. For example, if I use the example of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, most of the teenagers across the globe will understand about that if I pick any example from that series of novel. However, if I give you an example from Intelligent Investor, that is also a novel. So generally, only business class people will understand, or entrepreneurs will understand, who are definitely not teenagers, who are millennials or older than that. So please stay relatable for even examples that you are choosing. That is very, very important. Examples and relevant examples, and also what we say evidences, both. Okay, next question. Missing opportunities to develop ideas. You will need to show evidence that you have not just considered the obvious surface me. So this is very important. Okay, this is especially important in the writer's effect. You will need to show evidence that you have not just considered the obvious surface meaning of what you have read, but you can read more carefully. Reading carefully and closely will mean that you are able to make judgments about what you have read and show that you understand the implications by extending ideas. Making judgments and extending ideas are examples of development, and you might include to show reading skills at higher levels. You can think of development as making obvious in you. So when I use the word development, please understand, very easy. I'm just putting it down very easily for you all. So whenever I say developed points, developed points, what you should include, your understanding, what you read. I'll just show you. So whatever you have understood after reading, what you read, what you have felt after reading, what you feel, with some examples from the text and some evidences. If you use this strategy, very simple and easy strategy. If you want any develop point is nothing but what you have read. So whatever you're understanding directly or explicit meaning, what you feel, whatever you have understood as an implicit meaning, plus the examples, plus evidences. Clear with this? So I have just summarized this point over here. Okay, using inconsistent or faulty style. Now let's move on to the next one, that is using inconsistent or a faulty style. This. Your response to the extended reading task will also be assessed for writing skills. It is important to control your writing throughout the whole response. Make sure you do not include errors that affects the meaning of what you are writing. Do not lose focus on the type of text you are meant to be writing in your response by forgetting to sign off in character at the end of a letter. So basically here what it is meaning is follow the rule book. So when I say follow the rule book, in that case, it means that you have to follow the rule book for each and every writing styles, like letter writing, email writing, argumentative, persuasive, descriptive, speech. So this was all about your common mistakes. Now let's move on to the next part, that is general advice. Now this advice is for your paper 1. Read the text and question carefully more than once. Your first advice before I even give this advice, I'll give you the first advice is first read question paper, then read your insert. When you read your insert, highlight important answers or points. Okay? All right. Now the next one. As you read the question, identify the perspective, the point of view or role you are being asked to take in your answer. So next important thing that we have to, we talked about it already. Perspective is something which is very, very important to be. You should understand the point of view. So first you have to follow these 3 points I have listed over here. Read the question paper first. Generally the advice is read the insert first, but I don't give that advice of reading insert first. First read the question paper, then read the insert, then highlight the pointers, important points in insert, because you'll end up saving a lot of time since you are already aware of what questions you are supposed to answer. Okay. Thinking from the perspective you have been asked to take, consider why you are writing. Okay. So you have to answer this question by. Of course, I'm going to give you very easy templates to follow to answer these questions, which will help you to develop your points even better. But understand what you're doing, why you are writing, and to who. Know your audience. As I told you, stay relatable. So here what it means, I have just explained you. This is the same thing. Stay relatable and relevant. Okay. Use bullet points in the question to plan ideas. This is very important and very easy step. And you will include your response. Make sure you include ideas for all 3 bullet points. Use your own words most of the time. Do not copy phrases. Okay, for longer sections. So do not copy phrases or longer sections from the text. Remember to include all the important details your reader would need to know. Use and develop ideas from the text. So if you want to develop something, I have already given you a strategy over here. Develop points are read, feel. I'll just highlight it all again. Read, feel, example, and evidences. They are developed points. I'll just use one. Okay. Remember to include all the important use and okay, control and correct your writing. This is all about the grammar, the structure, and the vocab you're using. This is very important. Make sure that your voice and register you develop in the response fits your person or role, audience, or purpose. We talked about it already. Reread your answer to spot and correct errors in spelling and grammar and punctuations. Of course, it's an English paper. You are going to end up losing marks for spelling errors, for punctuation, for the wrong punctuation, for the wrong use of grammar. So make sure you stick to the right usage and you practice it throughout the year. In my power classes, I'll be particularly focusing more on exam style approach. So if you are, whatever happens, just make sure you attend my power classes live. Please do not watch it at home or recordings, because you will end up missing on a lot of things if you miss power classes. All right, so that's all for today's class. We have covered the important tips and tricks for paper number 1. We are going to focus more on paper number 2 next class, which is tomorrow. And then further, we'll have a power class as per our schedule. So stay tuned, and yeah, I'll be attaching this below so you guys can go through this document once again and be ready for the next class. Please take notes. Make a separate 300 pages notebook. Take notes. Very, very, very crucial and important. I teach 100 kids, but those who take notes definitely learn a lot more than what people who don't take notes learn from me. So if you want to extract the maximum benefit or of my knowledge and resources, please take your own notes. Okay. Bye bye. Take care. See you in the next class tomorrow.